Hey, what up, what up? Yeah, it's Tamara Forrester, also known as Empress Jah Love. No, it is going to be amazing doing this because I have so much, so much respect for Katy Perry. She's an activist. She is, she said in Roar that she was going to be made heard. And definitely to have this brave heart actually be an advocate for love and an advocate for those who are being victimized. And it's just like, yeah, so much respect to you. I am so grateful, so thankful. And I should say, we are Katy Perry. So this is the song, Chain to the Rhythm. Like, Chain to the Rhythm, once I heard it, which really wasn't long ago after the trod, my partaking in that, it's just amazing. So I'm going to start from the beginning of the song and go in. By the way, for those who do know about this, I am out of the hospital. All is well, and I will do a complete video about that. When you start to have a certain awareness and start to be vocal, you definitely have to be super, super keen about everything and everything you ingest, certainly. So yeah, I'm really grateful. So we're going to change to the rhythm. Trapped in our picket fence, like ornament. All right, so at the beginning of this video, I think I don't know if you saw it right then. The name of the theme park is Oblivion. Really about to walk into oblivion. And that's what it is. It's sort of this waste of time and energy. You go through this thing of belief, but you're walking into oblivion. Also, you're going to notice the hedgehog or groundhog. Yeah, groundhog. Now, the groundhog is synonymous with this idea of Groundhog Day, which is the same activity over and over and over, this repetitive thing. And this is basically describing Groundhog Day from hell, right? So that's what she's depicting in that. The other thing is that when you see the theme park, it's just adults going in, really bright, eye, bushy tail, sort of like going in with all this faith and basically enter something. So yeah, let's go on. No, she talks about so comfortable, we're living in a bubble, we can't see the trouble. Because most people who embark on this and start to believe, most people who join any cult, are usually idealists. They're usually from great homes, great parents, great families. They have love. They want more from life. They start believing something and then actually get caught up in a programming that have you believing in whatever the cult leader, usually sort of this narcissistic character, very charismatic. For me, anyway, the cult got to me when I was in college. I'd gotten into Columbia University, deferred my enrollment for a year, was at Medgar Evers in Brooklyn. I was living in New York, in Manhattan, in Chelsea, for years at that time. Had been traveling and decided on anthropology. So they basically got to me because I was a bit of a radical and writing sort of radically. We started to go to these meetings and stuff like that, learning about ancient Kemet. And that kind of led into this whole idea of distant relatives, family, and, sort of the gathering of the distant relatives. And all these concepts started to come up. And within that, the programming began. Another thing, because I definitely did not want to forget this, she talks about living in a bubble that we can't see the trouble, because at the end of the day, we don't believe that those who we are, doing these activities for don't have our best interests at heart. We really believe. We believe in the greater good. We believe in something, and so we carry on. Yeah. And then she looks at the rose. She smells the rose. It looks beautiful. It smells beautiful, but she gets pricked by it. And that's sort of the theme that's going to happen now. And then you get an image of our homes, because you're asked to leave home, of course. Your home, which is now dangling in the air. Let's just catch a little bit more of this. This is on. I'm going to stop it right there. So, you're going to see now they're about to enter an actual ride. Like she was walking around the theme park before, now she's going on a ride. When they enter the ride, you're going to see that the male are all on one side, the females are all on one side. You're placed to do the same activities basically, but the females are kept on that ride longer, which the programming, so that the programming takes in a different way. So at the end, the females are supposed to have like a handler. Okay? And the males are supposed to sort of be like a soldier for them now, somebody who they can access that whenever they want or work for them directly. So that's how you're going to see it. And they're both going on this roller coaster ride because at the end of the day, you go to a theme park, what happens? You're leaving your reality, you're leaving reality, and you're walking into something where you're going through being brave on these trips, brave on the roller coaster. You're having this alternate universe sort of experience, and this is what she's depicting in that. Turn it up, it's your favorite song. Dance, dance, dance to the distortion. Now I'm gonna say this. One of the reasons why Chain to the Rhythm is so key for her to name the song and Turn It Up, it's your favorite song, dance, because at the end of the day, after the group has met, after you're now taking into this idea and the faith and the curiosity and the wanting to do good and wanting to be in a community of those like you then are not always around the group anymore because you have to do this trod alone, doing this repetitive walk in the sun with no money. I'll go through that in a moment. I'll get to that. So the keep it on repeat part is what happens because although the group isn't there anymore, the songs are used to program. You listen to the songs, you start loving the songs, you're listening to the songs in the shower, you're listening to the songs when you're cooking, you're listening to the songs on the way to school, you're listening to songs on the subway, when you're driving with your parents, whatever it is, so that at the end of the day, this music is the continual programming that's allowing you and also allowing you to feel a communication and sort of a special calling by the cult leader, who's a lot of times the one on the mic. You understand? So that you feel this and you're programming, you have it on repeat, you're programming yourself into it. And in between your trods, your walks, your jogs, your runs around the country, around the state, around the city that you're in, usually you're asked for it to be in a sun-drenched place, a lot of sleep deprivation. That's really what's happening. You're inculcating these concepts, these ideologies while you're, and in the midst of and in between, which kind of catapults and propels you along because you're programming yourself, as well as, you have to prove to everyone because your family wonder what's happened, your friends, you're isolated now, and now you're on this trip alone. Yeah, it's Tamara Forrester, also known as Empress Jah Love. Yeah, so I'm continuing. This is part 2 of Katy Perry's song, Chain to the Rhythm. I'm so grateful to you. I do not know you, but I know that you sat down, pen or phone in hand, and decided to, because a lot of people don't understand that for a song to be written, it has to first be just a concept. Something sometimes that that is created from a passion, and then you put that to paper or to you write it out somehow in whatever format you choose, and then you find the melody, and then you find the instrumental that makes the most sense, and then you hear the blossoming of this thought into this concept for the world, to then decide how you're going to translate all of that beautiful art in the music video. And Katy Perry, as I said before, said in Roar that she was going to be heard. And really what I love about what she's chosen to do is focus on a solution driven life, because at the end of the day you can say, oh my, this happened and this happened, but when you're solution driven is when you decided to be an advocate for love, for peaceful liberty, for for being to enter something in full knowledge. And At the end of the day, these cult guys have a motto because it's a motto and became very familiar with, which is go hard and done. Check out the song, you'll see the video. All right, so I wanted to make sure that you get an idea of this walk, this trod. Some call it being on the rock because you're kind of rocking back and forth, and certainly in your shadow when you're walking, when you're trotting, it's called a trot as well. Is because especially when you start going in the shadow next to you as it goes and all of that, it has that motion of almost like a horse. Oh, it's very interesting. Anyway, so she's depicting this thing, this methodical walk. Now, so let me explain to you what the trot is, right? You are asked to leave home, like Erica Badu's bag lady, you're asked to leave all of your stuff behind. Um, Bank accounts, I don't even want to have, actually, you know what? Will make a video going into details about finances and all of that. But basically, you leave home. No, you're asked to be in a sun-drenched environment. First of all, so because I was in New York, I started to head down south. Down south led me all the way through to spending 3 days in Savannah, Georgia, spending a couple of days in South, like spending a few days here or one day there before I really got the direction of how to do this, where you're really walking most of the time because I was taking the Greyhound bus or the Peter Pan bus or whatever at times. And then I started to walk. When I got to Florida, I was in like Jacksonville, Florida. Or even before I got to Jacksonville, I started seeing like alligator, crocodile. I don't remember if it's crocodiles or alligator signs, and I'm like out there, it's not like I'm in a car. So I definitely, I said, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to put my all into this and do the initiation process, which I'm being asked to do. I didn't know that was something that was necessary, but it's kind of described as a boot camp, and in one of my songs, I actually call it a boot camp as well. Um, so So let me just go through the actual specifics of what it is to trot. You're asked to leave home. You're asked to have no bag, no bags. Okay, you are walking, and the walking you will see later on. It's depicted in her video as well. Turns into jogging and running, sprinting. Because by the time they start to direct that, which is the more strenuous movement, you're so intent on getting everything right because you're figuring it must be you, but you're so intent on getting it right that you're willing to just go hard, which is why they always make sure that this song "Go Hard and Done" was playing, in his own words, playing, count your blessings, patience, playing, you know what I mean? Playing. So you're always in this loop um, of reiteration and hence inculcation, hence an imprint on your actual mind, on your heart, on your soul, because you believe. You believe in the greater good, and you believe. So yeah, so the walking for me, it was I decided from Florida to go to Jamaica. So I'm in Jamaica. First was in Port Maria, big up to Port Maria, St. Mary. I was on the beach, decided to take that beach on. I still had one bank card left at that time. And I was just getting equipment and shovels and this and that bags. I was like basically sleeping on the beach in St. Mary, Jamaica, and cleaning the beach. I was there for a while until it was time for me to start the actual trod. The trod is no phone, resource, meaning no money, no water, no food. We're talking about extremes of sun and rain. You're talking about really very little sleep. We're talking about extreme sleep deprivation because you're doing this very active thing as well of the walking and the running, and you're walking at night. You're sleeping a couple winks for a couple hours or 3 hours or whatever, but you're asked to go on as much as possible as you're not doing it right. And it was always about getting it done right, because at the end of the day, you have your family, you have your friends, you've been isolated. You have to now prove to yourself and to the world that you're not crazy. Remember, that's the first thing she asked in the song. Are we crazy to have really believed in this? Yeah, so we're looking at extreme dehydration because you're asked to do this in a sun-drenched place. The extreme dehydration in the sun makes it feel like you're being electrocuted by the sun. So as you walk, you're kind of stomping through. You're not really walking through. So in those hours of like 8:30 a.m. to like 3:30 p.m., it was just intense. Sometimes you're literally dancing through the flames, as you talk about in Roar. You're literally running from one shade tree a half a mile to the next just to get a little bit of shade out of the sun, because you're not allowed to walk with water. If you are to get water or food, you have to work for it. So you're looking at sweeping, you're looking at raking, cleaning, washing up stuff. You have to work for food. It's like ashram life in the streets while you trot around the country. Since I was in Jamaica, I was trotting around the island. I was trotting the perimeter of Jamaica, doing laps around the country. Take me about 3.5 weeks or so to do a complete lap if I don't tarry too long in one area. Yeah, so another thing that you're gonna ask to do all the time is praise. You gotta be praising Jah. You're walking, you're praising God, and you are smiling. You're smiling, you're praising, you're smiling, you're running through the sun, you're trotting through when it's not as heated. But at night, you still feel the heat of what your body had retained. So that is what you're doing. You keep on moving, not staying in any area too long. And of course, you're isolated in the public because people don't know what you're doing. So yeah, that is the one of the main things here.
Keep sweeping it under.